Food can be the gateway to many avenues, such as peace, health, and in our case, memories. We were gifted the wonderful experience of meeting with Chef Ken and Chef Matt of the Fishin Pig in Farmville, Virginia. Chef Ken, who is an executive chef at the age of 45, along with Chef Matt, who grew up in Memphis, Tennessee, partnered with Nash Osborne, who is credited with the aesthetic of designing the restaurant to help create the beloved Farmville attraction. Moving from their home of 8 years in Kingsville with hopes of expansion, they combined Shorty's Breading and barbecue to make the Fishin Pig logo.
Chef Ken grew up very young cooking and realized that his mom and dad worked very long hours and his mother would talk him over the phone on how to cook. By 10 years old, he was cooking everything from scratch and fell in love with it. Matt, however, there was no one person that inspired him. He realized it was just a job for him until he realized how fun it could be. He later soon fell into it because it was a passion of him.
So they get their meats from two primary companies, PFG and Cisco. PFG is the Performance Food Group, and these Chef Ken has specific standards that he requires these two companies to fulfill, and that just ensures the consistency for all the restaurants for the Fishin Pig. So no matter what restaurant you go to, whether it's in Waynesboro, Farmville, or any other location, you're going to get the same quality of meat. So some of the standards are the meat's never frozen, and they have to be a certain size, and they are farm raised. So these are just a picture of meat and then one of the trucks that is down at the old Fishin Pig.
And what you're seeing here is Taylor making her very first authentic dish of Alfredo. How did it feel to be authentically cooking Alfredo?
I loved it. You know, this recipe is a Chef Ken original. He said it took him many times to perfect it, but sooner or later, it became this wonderful masterpiece that he loves to cook.
Mm-hmm. And if I remember correctly, you got pretty high praises off your first try. So
I did.
Might be Chef Taylor on the way.
Maybe.
That's all I'm saying.
So the Alfredo pasta that we were just talking about and that you just saw a video of, the main ingredients are the wide noodles, the heavy cream, the egg yolk, remember just the yolk, butter, minced garlic, pepper, and tons of Parmesan cheese. You put that on the stove at high temp and stir it while it cooks, and sooner or later you get a perfected dish that you can sop up with all the good rolls.
All right, so one of the questions we asked during our second meeting was about like some challenges that they face, and both Chef Ken and Matt both emphasized that every day is a challenge in the restaurant business, and some of these challenges can range from running out of oil for their deep fryer, which most of their food is deep fried, so running out of oil is an important factor. Registers are shutting down. That can happen in any restaurant. And they also stated that communication is a key aspect in handling all sorts of challenges. So if there is a challenge or situation that arises, like they go out and talk to all their customers and lets them know what the situation is and making sure that they are still receiving that customer service. And another thing they mentioned was that management needs to be able to adjust quickly and appropriately to situations depending on what it is. So one of the challenges that Matt had stated in our meeting was if an employee calls out sick from work, they don't shut down the whole restaurant. They just shut down like a specific section of that restaurant.
Also, Matt did say that he keeps his toolbox on hand at all times.
Yeah, and he opens it like 5 times a day.
Yes.
No matter what, the show must go on.
Yeah.
But speaking of challenges, guys, one that I've personally been tasked with is trying to find a better tasting catfish than the one that we got during our culinary connection.
Pretty hard.
Mm-hmm.
Not gonna lie. So, what you're about to witness is the magical result of the combination of Shorty's Breading and farm-raised catfish, along with a fish fryer that cost over $21,000.
Ooh, that's a good dip.
And right about here is where magic happens.
Never had catfish. They might know that it's.
You know, I didn't believe in love at first sight until this happened.
Yeah, that's how I feel about the pasta.
Yeah.
I didn't think I would like catfish, but that is just a.
You're so invested.
I was. Like, the nods of approval, just like
100%. And I thought I needed to go back for more. I was like, I need to get another taste.
And of course, our breading has everything to do with it. So.
And you know, Matt had to try it.
Yeah.
You know, it's that real consistency that you get with all across the board throughout the entire restaurant that keeps their customers coming back.
Yeah. Like, come from the country, you know, the South. I definitely only got the little, I wouldn't say dirty, but like the more natural tasting catfish, and this was absolutely mind-blowing for me.
100%.
Well, so let's have some fun facts here. So, Chef Ken catered to not one, not two, but 3 different presidents, those being George Bush Sr., George Bush Jr., and President Bill Clinton. He also worked as a decorative chef of NASCAR for almost 10 years. And he worked for the largest food service company in the world. Chef Matt started Mulligan Sports Grill in Richmond, Virginia, then opened one in Wayanoke Hotel basement. Prior to being sold off, it was the very first sports bar that showed every NFL game every Sunday. And quite interestingly, before the food industry, he wanted to be a stunt double. And also like actively begun pursuing that dream as well. And lastly but not least, which is a remarkable feat, they have over 75 employees at Farmville location at Fishin Pig alone.
That's just the one on Main Street. That's not including like the catering employees.
Oh, and how could I forget? Nevertheless, a mind-blowing moment for me was the interesting technique of shocking pasta.
You can shock pasta.
Literally.
Who would have thought?
You can shock
Never
pasta.
even thought about it.
I was shocked, the pasta was shocked, everybody was shocked.
And just keep on stirring until you're cool all the way around.
You put it in a little ice bath, and apparently it stops the pasta from cooking any further.
Now, if we were to cook,
Because the noodles will cook more once you put it back in the Alfredo sauce we showed earlier in the presentation.
Yeah.
Or any sauce that you are using.
cool it down with some water, and put it into walk-in, but still be above legal temp in the morning.
I can't wait to shock some of my own pasta later for the Alfredo pasta I'm gonna make.
As you just seen in that video, shocking pasta stops the cooking. And just like this presentation, brings this time for the Fishin Pig crew to a close.